John, go ahead.
What I tell you is what I know is fact.
I'm a power person. I enjoy power. Nobody else had the guts to pull off what I pulled off. I outsmarted you again.
Police today found 6 more bodies
under the home of suspected killer John Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy was also Pogo the Clown, who loved to make kids laugh.
I was clowning and appearing in at least 10, 15 parades.
Clowns can get away with anything. Clowns can get away with murder.
The clowning was relaxation for me. I enjoyed entertaining kids. Like some people are, they unwind in different ways. Either we're going out drinking or that. I could put on clown makeup and I was relaxed. And I enjoyed doing it. It was only twice a month that I did it.
Yeah, this was not used for a lure to draw kids to you
No, we would visit different hospitals and entertain the children there. And we didn't entertain them with handcuffs or anything like that. All we used was balloon animals and small toys and stuff like that. But we also did parades. And in the summertime, like on 4th of July, I used to be in 4 parades in one day. I've always told people when I got into clown makeup, I regressed into childhood. It was fun being a clown because you could be yourself or just let yourself go and act a fool. You could be slapstick and funny and have a good time. That's why I always enjoyed clowning. Clowning has taken a bad name because of what they've used in my case.
Gacy confession about how he killed his victims, strangled them with his now infamous rope trick that police say he demonstrated to them with a rosary bead.
I had a rosary, which I carried in my pocket. I've always carried a rosary. It was my communion rosary. They said, well, what kind of a knot do you use? I said, what do you mean knot? When I tie things up? I says, depending on what I'm using it for, I said, the only thing I ever learned from Boy Scouts is a tourniquet knot. He said, well, show us what that is. So I took, at that time, and again, it's together, but in order to demonstrate it here, I took the rosary and I said, well, here, you put it around. This is hard trying to do this. Why don't you put your hand out? Okay, here. What I told him, I said, here, all you do is you wrap it around, you put one knot in it. And I said, then you put a second knot in it. Okay? I said, then you take a stick and stick it in here and you just turn this. And I said, it causes a tourniquet. I said, that's the only knot I ever learned.
Precisely the kind of knot found on the ropes wrapped around the necks of the victims found under the house on Summerdale.
Gacy typically murdered his victims by placing a rope tourniquet around their neck before progressively tightening the rope with a hammer handle. He referred to this act as the rope trick, frequently informing his captive, "This is the last trick." After death, Gacy usually stored the victims' bodies under his bed for up to 24 hours before burying the victim in the crawl space.
And they were looking for the monster.
When you say fantasy monster image, what are you referring to by that? Have you ever been sexually abused by anybody?
At the age of 9, there was a contractor. Who was
Building contractor?
building a house next door, and he used to pick me up and take me for rides. and always wanted to show me wrestling holds with always putting my head in between his legs. But at the time, I did not look at it as sexual. He was showing me wrestling holds where my head was always constantly pinned between his legs.
A historical note, your Iowa conviction goes back to what year was that?
1968.
68. And what was, just in a nutshell, you know, without getting in too deeply, what was the basis of the Iowa conviction?
The basis of it was a sodomy conviction. It's the only thing I ever was sentenced to was a sodomy conviction. I worked for Hall Mortuary, being the night man picking up bodies at the hospitals and stuff for them. I worked as a night man only. I did have nothing to do with the bodies. All this talk that I slept with the dead ones or had sex with dead bodies, there is no truth to any of that.
A number of, 3 or 4 psychiatrists, psychologists interviewed.
I had 13 of them. There was 6 for the defense and 7 for the state.
Yeah, what was the
state
position
doctor,
of the defense psychiatrists? What did they feel your problem was? What did they come up with from the standpoint of...
what the hell is it? God, I can't remember offhand. Borderline personality, antisocial behavior. I don't see how anybody could be antisocial when you were involved with the public as much as I was.
How about the multiple personality issue?
Oh, the multiple personality came out of Dr. Reifman and Hartman. These 2 clowns from the Cook County there. They came to see me the first time. I said, "Do you want to talk to John Wayne Gacy, the politician, the clown, the family man, or the businessman?" The next day, I see it in the newspaper. Gacy has 4 personalities.
He returned home one night and found Gacy drunk and dressed in his clown costume. Gacy invited Cram to join him for a drink. The men had a few Mai Tais. Then Gacy tricked Cram into the handcuffs.
And he's laughing, ha, 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 you know, just like a little kid. You know, and again, I'm standing there looking at a clown in a clown suit, laughing at me because I'm locked up. And he's like, poke me. Does it bother you? Huh? Does that bother you? Huh? So I told him, I said, if you don't take these off, I'm gonna kick your ass.
The teenager then saw a side of his boss that few ever lived to tell about.
It was just like a light switch went off in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of a thought. He just starts growling like a mad dog.
Gacy lunged at Cram and swung him around the room, shouting, "I'm going to rape you." Despite the handcuffs, Cram was able to push Gacy to the ground. He somehow managed to grab the key and escape to his room.
Do you remember when you were a clown? Why did you do that, John? You liked it, John? When you killed these young men, did you do anything with them after death?
A painting that he had done himself. The citation on this painting is, "Dear Mr. Wrestler, you cannot hope to enjoy the harvest without first laboring in the fields. Best wishes and good health. Sincerely, John Wayne Gacy." There's obviously a cryptic note here somewhere, and I'm not really sure what Mr. Gacy means. I'm hoping that one day he'll explain this.
Please, God. Please, oh, please, God. God can't help you. I'm God.